to do the job in this autumn of conflict and of campaign. Help me to do the job in these years of darkness, of doubt, and of crisis, which stretch beyond the horizon of tonight's happy vision. And we will justify our glorious past and the loyalty of silent millions who look to us for compassion, for understanding, and for honest purpose.
Didn't he say no? Mull that over. How many ways should one have to say the word no before everyone believes him? In the political world, there is no such thing as issuing a complete denial. There are, of course, the non-denial denials. And there's the ever-popular denial of the original denial stemming from a non-denial denial that should never have been issued in the first place because someone was already denying it before it hit the ground. Hey, don't be confused. This is all just par for the course, trust me. Welcome back, the presidential historian, New York Times bestselling author, most recently author of Last Act, The Final Years and Emerging Legacy of Ronald Reagan, Craig Shirley. All right, Craig, let us issue a non-denial denial here when it comes down to Paul Ryan, who swears absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt he is not going to seek the presidency. All right, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Why don't we just believe the guy for a change?
Well, I think, Ed, we're just in an age of cynicism where we don't take people's word at face value anymore. He sounds like to me he issued a Sherman-esque statement which said, you know, basically if nominated he would not accept and if elected he would not serve. I don't know how much further we can go with that, but I suppose it's the age of cynicism. You know, there's been some cute denials in the past. One thought to be vice presidential aspirant was asked if he was going to accept the vice presidency, and he said, no, I'm opposed to vice in all of its forms.
Now, let's just look at this as another issue here. And let's just put this out here, okay? Paul Ryan does not want to be seen as the sacrificial lamb this year. He realizes that it's a no-win situation. You've got the Trump convention that's just burying down on everybody, and he's saving himself for 2020. What do you think?
First of all, I don't think this is a lost year by any means. The Democratic Party is going to nominate either Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. They are woefully, terribly divided. If she is the nominee, she's going to be the weakest nominee since George McGovern in 1972. Bernie Sanders will be even worse. You've got the 8-year itch working for the Republican Party's favor, and that every 8 years the party changes hands, going back to Truman's time. The economy, the mood of the country is bad. The economy is not seen as well. The world situation is not seen well. I think the Republican Party nomination is extremely valuable. And even if it's not, is that if he were to, say, accept the vice presidential slot and he loses, it would set him up nicely as the front runner for 4 years from now. He's a very young man, so he's got a future ahead of him. He's got a lot of work to do on his conservatism and on his message and on his delivery and things like that, but he has a future if he wants one.
I'm going to give you all that, but didn't you just in many ways set up the case for 2020 here? Young man, still has plenty of ways to go, has things to do at this point, and if you get a chance, stay out of the mess that's going to be the convention in Cleveland right now. Stick to your guns. Don't you look better for 2020?
Well, except that, you know, Ed, is that there's something to be said for getting in there and fighting, because, you know, when it comes, everybody's pointing the fingers later, it's better to have been in there and lost than not been there at all and be a you know, kind of on the sideline. You know, it's better as Teddy Roosevelt to be in there in the arena and get your face marred with dirt and sweat than to suffer with those poor fools who never know the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat. So I think it's better ultimately for anybody who wants to compete for this year or for 4 years from now to be in the arena.
Couple of minutes we have left here. Let's look then at what will happen in Cleveland. Is it not fair to say that, as I've read in many places, talked to a lot of people who have been at conventions before, that those who are going to be at this Republican convention in many ways have no idea what's going to hit them, because this is entirely untested ground? But the horse trading itself that's got to be going on right now, we used to call that in the radio business payola, which it just seems like what's coming down the pipe right now anyway.
We're not in uncharted territory. The Republican Party has been here before, most notably in 1976.
But at this level, though, Craig, but at this level of discourse?
Well, I mean, you've got the new media. You've got the internet. You've got talk radio. You've got Twitter. You've got cable television, all increasing the scrutiny and attention, and quite honestly, the heat. I'm not sure it's contributing to the light, but it is contributing to the heat going into Cleveland. But we've seen this before. But the fact is that it is in many ways the wild, wild west. Now, you can't give a delegate money, but there are other ways with trips and golf trips and gift bags.
We just call them perks and goodies. There you go. Just little extras, the little gift bags.
Yeah, sure. But cajoling and pleading, it's actually, I think it's going to be fascinating. It's certainly going to be highly watched. You know, I mean, the conventions over the past 40 years have descended into one-dimensional, infomercials, and nobody watches them anymore. One thing is for certain is that the Cleveland Convention is probably going to have the highest ratings and probably going to have gavel-to-gavel coverage for the first time in years.
Fair to say, though, I got 30 seconds left here, that a lot of people who are heading there right now, going to be in Cleveland, they're going to need a lot of education to get ready for this, because no one expected this. As we've talked about, this is coming out of the blue to a lot of people who just don't figure they're going to have this kind of discourse.
Yeah, but people are smart and they pick up on things quickly. I'm quite frankly, Ed, I'm astonished listening to talk radio and cable television at the level of sophistication already underway as people understanding of the intricacies of the Republican Party rules of the convention. So I think by the time of the convention, people will be talking comfortably about Rule 14B, subchapter S, Section 12, without any hesitation whatsoever.
Don't worry, Craig. I'm sure the way talk radio goes, they'll be dumbing it down any day now. It'll just get even worse by the time we get there. We got lots of time to get there. Craig Shirley, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us. And as for that contested convention discussion, everybody stop being such a wanker. Face the future already. Let's get right to it. Next, in Telling It Like It Is on the Hardline.